I'd like to talk to you about my THC experience. No, I don't smoke pot. In fact, I've never done any drugs other than alcohol, caffeine, and, well, what the doctor gives me. Yes, I've always avoided that because, I thought, well, gosh, what if I become an addict and my life is over, basically? And I don't like that idea. So I've always stayed away from drugs. Anyways, I think it was last year or maybe the year before, I did review some low, I think CBD beverages. I didn't notice anything after having consumed them. They may have had THC. I'm not really sure anymore. I'd have to find the old videos. But I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try some more and maybe find something else that works. Just going back to the topic of alcohol for a second. Like I said, I've had alcohol. I don't really drink alcohol much anymore. In fact, I haven't. The last time I had alcohol was probably June of 2024. And when I would drink alcohol, it would generally be like maybe a quarter of a shot, a half a shot of liqueur. I don't like the hard alcohols. They don't taste good to me like they do to alcoholics. I've talked to alcoholics who actually think that Scotch tastes good. It's gross. So clearly, people who become addicted to alcohol think hard alcohol tastes good. And it doesn't. So if you drink alcohol that's hard, just straight, and you think it tastes good, like, whiskey and scotch and bourbon and that kind of stuff, then you should stay away from alcohol or you're going to become an alcoholic most likely. Now, I don't like the way alcohol makes me feel. I don't mind so much when I'm a little bit tipsy because, then I just kind of get giggly and silly. But the more, the stronger it becomes, the less I like it. And then it gets to a point where I just don't like it at all because, my motor skills my motor function is impaired. And my brain obviously isn't working normally. And if I drink enough, and I generally don't realize when I've hit my limit until it's well past too late. I have actually blacked out without blacking out. There's one time where I did black out fully, but I've had actually memory lapses on 2 or maybe 3 other occasions. And that's both ways is pretty scary. But the scariest one was when I had just had 7 shots of alcohol, just 7 shots, different kinds of hard alcohol, and some liqueur, a little bit, like peppermint schnapps. And I had taken my allergy medicine and had an allergy shot that day. And boy, oh boy, I was just knocked off my feet by that. And I remember waking up with my friends around me. I was on a picnic table outside, and they were saying, if you don't wake up and we're going to call the ambulance. And I was like, no, don't call the ambulance. And I'm sure I sounded like that, although I can't actually tell you what I sounded like. I just don't really remember all that well anyways, but even if I could, I probably couldn't reproduce it. And the next day or two was horrible. And I just do not like hangovers. I don't like the way I feel the next day. And so I just avoid alcohol most of the time, except for a little maybe like glass of sweet wine. I mean, actually sweet wine, not the stuff that people claim is sweet but isn't. I like that. I like liqueur, and that's it. So, getting back to the beverages. So, a couple weeks ago, I went to Jungle Jim's International Market, and I picked up several THC beverages. And so I got Mary Jones root beer, and I got some D9 cocktails, 3 different flavors of that, and 3 different flavors of Seltzer 9, and then 2 flavors of Amigos. Now, Mary Jones only has 5 milligrams of THC, and it doesn't mention CBD. D9 and Seltzer 9 both have 10 milligrams of THC and 5 of CBD. And Amigos has 50 milligrams of THC and no CBD. It's all from hemp, supposedly. And what my experience has been with the Mary Jones, I didn't really notice anything. And that was taken after I had some food in my stomach. I had the D9 the next time. And now these cans say they're 2 servings, but I drank the whole thing over a period of hours. Even the Amigos, which is larger. 1 serving for the Amigos is 237 milliliters versus the D9 and seltzer, which is 177.5. So I drank the D9, didn't really notice anything. But then the next day, which was yesterday, I had the Seltzer 9. And again, with both of these, I drank the whole can over a period of hours. I don't remember how many it was, maybe 2 or 3 hours. And I enjoyed them. The seltzer water, I had to add some sucralose to make it taste good. It had a good maraschino base, but it just needed sweetness because the sourness was just too much. So I didn't notice anything for a few hours. I had it in the morning, and then it was sometime, I'm not sure exactly what time, but maybe it was mid-afternoon that I noticed that I was starting to feel kind of not, like unstable, like dizzy, lightheaded, that kind of thing. And I was not happy about it. And I thought, well, gosh, what's going on? And I checked my blood pressure. My blood pressure was well into the hypertensive range, whereas normally it's like 110, 120, something like that, because I'm on lisinopril. And it just was really slowing down my cognitive skills. When I didn't concentrate, it made me feel like I was unstable on my feet. And then it just stayed that way even until this morning. So I slept extra this morning. But it was just like, God, it's still a little bit there now today. It's a day later and a day plus later, and I still feel a little bit of this kind of dizziness. So what's going on? Not having any experience with marijuana. I really don't know what the appropriate dosage is for somebody who's 6'1" and 190 so pounds. But what I do know is I don't enjoy what I'm experiencing, this hypertension, which is caused by THC. Interestingly, CBD causes hypotension and THC causes hypertension. And so I guess there's not enough CBD. So I don't like this. And this is just a mild disconnect, a little bit of wobbliness in the head, as it were. But what was worse than that was the Amigos. Not only having no real experience with this kind of thing, I thought, well, I was feeling kind of stressed and I wanted to chill. And I thought, well, this stuff is supposed to help, right? And so I thought, well, I'm going to get this into my system right away before I have anything to eat. So on an empty stomach, I drank some of this. And over the next few hours, I continued to drink. Again, I don't remember how many hours. The entire can. And then, actually, it wasn't even a couple of hours. I think it may have been an hour. Not too long after that, I started to feel a little bit of that disconnect. And then it got a bit stronger, so it felt like there was pressure on the sides of my head. Then it got even stronger, where it was like a little bit painful, like a headache. And then it kind of eased off, so it was just pressure. Then it eased off some more, and just the pressure was gone. But the disconnect kept on getting more and more intense. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to pick up my son in an hour or two, and I better take a nap, and hopefully this will be gone by the time I wake up. But no, it wasn't gone. And so an hour before I was supposed to pick him up. I was thinking, do I call him now or do I go pick him up now? I'm not sure if I'm good to drive or not. I didn't have problems walking or using my body as far as I could tell, but I wasn't sure. And so I thought, well, let me just sleep longer. And I woke up at the time I was supposed to pick him up, and I was definitely worse and definitely not at all safe to drive. And so I called up where he was at, and I said, hey, I'm sorry, I'm feeling really bad, and I can't pick you up, can't drive. And it took a few more hours, maybe 3 hours, before it dropped down enough that I felt, relatively speaking, okay. Still not great, but it was back down to that relatively mild disconnect. So obviously, the consuming this on an empty stomach, not a good choice, because not only did I have that problem, I also had some nausea. I had chest pains, which is called angina because it was near the heart, and that lasted that was on and off for hours. And yeah, I felt at the peak, I felt like, oh God, I slept well, but I did not feel well. And that sensation of brain fog and dizziness and whatnot carried on over a day before it dissipated completely. So at this point, I feel like I have to be super careful. I'm going to stay away from marijuana, which I've been considering for the future, because I have arthritis in my thumbs, especially my right thumb and my right toe, and my left toe has some kind of a problem, big toes. So, yeah, I mean, if you've used marijuana or if you've consumed stuff like this, I'd like to hear about your experiences and your knowledge on how to be more safe about it, because with the Amigos, again, it was on an empty stomach, but I was eating as I was finishing it. And then with the D9 and Seltzer 9, I had food in my stomach already. I'd like some tips if anybody can help me out. I'm probably not going to review any more of these. I'll probably just try to find CBD beverages in the future and avoid the THC entirely, since CBD actually lowers blood pressure, which is what I need. So if you can help me out, put it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.